Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I hope you're all having a fantastic day today. In the studio, these are not PRS guitars. These are the brand new Q series from Sire. So on one hand, we've got the Q3, which is the entry-level Q. Love the zebra coils on that. And we've got the flagship Q7 in another incredible metal flake finish. So let's get into it, find out the differences between these guitars, what they sound like, and what they're like to play. All right, so let's quickly highlight a few things on the Q7. Now, the first thing to note is for this year, tons of new metallic flake finishes on the Sire lineup. Absolutely incredible. If sparkle is not your thing, there's a bunch of traditional finishes as well. But we gotta feature the brand new sparkle. Because this is the first year they've done any of these metallic finishes, sides, back, and as I noted on the Y series, it goes to satin on the back of the neck. So body, high gloss sparkle, satin sparkle for a nicer playing finish, and then back to high gloss. Of course, locking tuners, ebony fingerboard, mahogany neck, mahogany body with a maple top. So there you go, mahogany, maple, and mahogany. So an extremely eye-catching finish and 5-way switch for getting your full humbuckers and split positions. On the inside, we'll get to the sounds in a second. Let's check out the Q3. Now, as for the Q3, here are some key differences between it and the 7. Now, even though this doesn't have, a fancy metallic finish, it is an eye-catching blue in a color I haven't seen very often. Oftentimes, you've got teals or different kind of blues, but never this kind of like really bright blue finish. So very cool in its own right. As I mentioned, it's got the zebra coils. So some differences, this is just a straight mahogany body. So it doesn't have the maple top like the Q7. So mahogany body, mahogany neck, you still get gloss to satin. Love that. Very clever, very nice way to, have your neck a little bit smoother than just a high gloss finish. Rosewood fingerboard on this one instead of ebony on the Q, but still you get the bone nut, the jumbo frets, still has the plastic on the cover guard there. No lockers, so those would be the key differences. So no locking tuners, just regular tuners, rosewood on this one, ebony on the other, and solid mahogany on this one, and mahogany with maple on the Q. So those are some of the key differences between these two models. We're going to plug them in and take a listen in a second. I'll link to them down in the video description below. You can get all the detailed specs and pricing down there. Other than that, let's plug these in and take them for a spin. Now, obviously, just having played these back to back, interesting dilemma. I think the Q7 has the nicer tones for me overall. Very creamy neck pickup in some of those leads, just soaring and searing tones. Really, really nice. Tons of sustain, as I mentioned. And so I think overall, I think the pickups are nicer on the Q7. That being said, I sort of feel like this one's a little bit more versatile in that it just has the three-way switch, but as soon as you pop out into single coil mode, you get a much more, say, versatile tone. To me anyway, it covers sort of that spankiness of a Strat much better than position 2 or 4 in the Q7. So overall, I think the Q7, well, playing them back to back, obviously it's a much nicer guitar. It's more expensive. It's more high-end in every way. That being said, I feel like this one is actually more versatile with its three-way and coil splitting. So there you go, just some differences between those guitars, and I'll leave it up to you whether you guys think one sounds better or not. You know, playing on the exact same amp with the exact same tones and playing similar-ish things. So hopefully that was helpful in determining which guitar might sound best to you and might be a good fit for you guys. So here are my final thoughts on the Sire Q series. Now, Sire has surprised me a few times in the past with various models that they've released, and I was not expecting a PRS style guitar from Sire at like half the price. So really great specs on the 7 here. You even have like kind of the two-tone trim set up there with the steel saddles and the gold hardware and then the black adjusters. Some nice features. Now you're not going to get, you know, the full big carve or even, you know, the carve around like the tone and the volume that you'd get on like a really high-end PRS. That being said, it definitely channels the spirit of that with incredibly high-end specs all the way throughout. Love the neck profile on this one. It's not going to show up on video, but it's just a little bit thicker than, you know, you would think on a model like this. Like this is not like a paper shredder neck. This is kind of more on the chunky side. So I really like digging in on this neck. Super nice. Like great playability. Yeah, just beautiful. So wonderfully made guitar. You know, you don't have to have the sparkle finish or the metallic finish if you don't want to, but it's really cool that they offer it. High end, you know, it just feels very high end to play. Interesting that the electronics on these two models are different. So we've got the 5-way switch here, volume and tone, and then on the Q, totally different 3-way switch with a coil splitter. So it just depends on how you want to access you know, the various tones on the guitar, whether you want just to split it and go into like a single coil mode and then put it down and just go 3-way switch, humbucker, very simple, or if you prefer, you know, not to push pull at all and just go 5-way switch. So another really interesting offering from Sire, as I mentioned, I did not see coming. Very cool. Yeah, their lineup now is quite robust with all different models, and you know, their usual pricing scheme is about half of you know, like say an S-style guitar would be half of a Fender, or you know, their L series, half of a Gibson, or whatever, and now the Q series and the L series. So they keep expanding and offering and keeping the same quality, which is, you know, it's hard to do, but that's the reason why these guitars are popular. Playability is excellent, and now, yeah, offering some very fun finishes while keeping, yeah, the playability and the quality up there. So really cool guitars, sound great, fun to play. I'll link to them down in the video description below. You can get all the information and pricing, as I mentioned, down there. Feel free to check them out. Thanks so much for watching, you guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to follow the channel. Other than that, have a great week. Take care.